listening to Fresh Courage podcast coming to you on the Transformation Talk Radio Network. And I love helping people do longevity planning. And, one of the things they don't tell us about retirement is that there is an emotional and social and mental health side besides financial planning. And our topic today is going to be about organizing your chaos, calming your chaos, or another way to say it is organizing skills for life's road trip. And I want to inspire, and I believe Lisa will too, daily do something. That's what I like to hold up my little block for. Daily do something that brings you happiness, health, and wealth. And I bet Lisa's going to tie in calming your chaos to some of that happiness and health that we sometimes don't recognize as being attuned to our happiness. So welcome, Lisa, to Fresh Courage.
Thank you, Sharon. I'm glad to be with you today.
And tell us, what are we going to learn and why is it relevant today?
We're going to realize it's truly important to have what you need and use in your home and really limit the extra stuff.
Oh, what I really need. Well, I have been surprised at how I've been trying to do a little bit of decluttering lately. And, I haven't connected that with happiness, but, it does give you a calmer feeling and kind of pleased with yourself. And one of the other sayings that I might want to contribute to today is I have this little art block that says transform failure into a learning experience. So in case you feel like you could have been better or that you are a failure even in the chaos that you have in your life, take it as a learning experience. Be curious about what Lisa can tell us today and move forward, because life is all about what do we learn and going forward, keep putting one foot in front of the other. So what do you have an early memory of how you were good, Lisa, at organizing and how it plays into your life today then?
Well, that's kind of funny. So I liked order as a little girl, and I remember at 12 looking at the top shelf of my closet and being so pleased with how nice the games looked all organized up there. But I was teased and ridiculed for liking order, so I was ashamed and embarrassed about that. And so if somebody commented on my slides being in order, for example, I was really embarrassed about that. I felt terrible and wanted to hurry up and shut the door so they wouldn't see that. So at 38, I realized that was actually a good thing. And so I started owning it, and it came in handy helping my son with those initials was labeled ADHD, and my husband was ADD, but we didn't understand those things at the time. But we lived through with a lot of humor, and I just kind of kept all the balls in the air with my organizing. Go ahead.
Well, I think it's curious that how many times when we're young, we either are really good at something and we get praised for it, or we're ridiculed. I mean, how many people say, oh, you can't make a living at being an artist, so skip that, move on. And that kind of was your experience then, wasn't it?
It was. I had a sister who was very gifted in art, so she was highly praised. And my liking order and doing well in school was not praised. I remember getting looking back, some amazing awards. And it was like, oh, another piece of paper. It was not celebrated. So it was like 6 girls in our family. We were all supposed to be even keeled. Nobody got overly praised or underpraised, but the art definitely got extra praise, and the sewing ability or cooking. And so I just grew up feeling very worthless. And I realized that in my 60s how I was wearing that awful cloak of heaviness of no self-worth. It's an ugly thing.
Yeah. So as we age, it sounds like you got curious about how this talent for being organized could play into something positive in your life?
Yeah, but I really can't take credit for it. I had a virus that put me in bed for 2 years.
Oh, my.
And I I couldn't stand long enough to peel a carrot or hold a heavy glass of water. So coming out of that, nearing the end of the 2 years, I thought, oh my gosh, I really am going to get well. What shall I do with the rest of my life? My boys will be going to college pretty soon. I'd like to help contribute to their finances. And so I said, I'm a Christian. I prayed and I said, God, what should I do with the rest of my life? And almost audibly he whispered, help people get organized. And I thought, that's weird, but man, that'd be fun. And so I told my mother-in-law about it. She goes, oh, Lisa, you would be so good at that. You need to write a book. And so that landed in my heart. So I grabbed a yellow tablet because I didn't have a computer back then. That was pre-computer day. And so I sat down my tablet. I just kind of downloaded my brain. And I started speaking to people in groups and thinking, I've got this wired. And then I met my very first client. And I had to ask her if she saved used Band-Aids. And so she knew where I was going. She goes, no, I don't. But I worked with her for several years, but I just put my book away thinking, okay, nobody like her is ever going to read my book. So it sat behind on the very back shelf or back burner, you could say, for almost 15 years. And I heard something about writing a book. It just resonated with me. I want to write a book. People need to hear about this. I had learned enough to know that I was arrogant in the beginning to think, just follow me. Just do what I do. I had to learn how to teach people how to be organized. And I think I was gifted with that. So I've learned along the way how to teach and show people how to do it in a way that they can get a hold of and do and be successful.
Well, and you have a real simple question. I've heard you ask this in networking events. What's that simple question you always zing people with?
Well, it was given to me when I was speaking at a retirement community. I just happened to say, if you had to, could you list your home for sale in 30 days? And this man came up to me afterwards. He said, that was the best question you could have asked. He goes, I know what to do now. And so I just layered and layered upon that, like, what do you need to do in your home? I'm not talking about new windows or taking bubble ceilings off. I'm talking about clutter. What do you have to do to turn your house around so you could list it if you wanted to in 30 days? And then start from there and go for it.
Yeah, I saw somebody yesterday that said they were just putting all their house in storage so they can rent it out. And they only, I think, allowed themselves 3 days to do that. So,
oh, my God.
I hope she was organized before she started.
Or she's going to laugh at some of the things that got packed up if she has somebody do it for her.
Yeah.
So I've had clients that needed that to be done, and it was a lot of work. And so I help realtors clear out homes of parents who have passed away, and they need to sell the home quickly because of taxes. It's doable, but it's very expensive. So I really try to impress upon people the benefits of being in that place of listing in 30 days if you have to. Because then if you're suddenly ill and somebody has to take care of things, it's in order for them. Or if it's your last breath, who's going to be stuck with taking care of all your stuff? Your kids, are they going to have to take time off work without pay, all their vacation time? Will your friends and family have to come in? I know people who do that. And it's really rough and stressful and tiring and expensive. And so if you do it now, start now and say, all right, I'm going to be in the place in 2 months or 3 months or 6 months where I can confidently say, yes, I could list my home in 30 days. You're in good shape.
Well, and so you help people downsize too?
Right. I refer to it as right sizing. What do you need right now for life? What do you need and use? That's my tattoo on people's brains. Need and use. Of course, a few lovely things, to make the place pleasant. You don't want to be totally utilitarian. But you don't need 29 pairs of shoes on the dining room table in boxes because you bought them online and you haven't returned them yet. So you never can have family over for dinner. Or if someone comes to your home and they could really use that extra bed in your guest room, could they actually walk into it and lie down? Or is the room 4 feet high in boxes and clutter?
Yeah, I've noticed that. Well, I've sometimes referred to my closets as being constipated. That if it's if it's not in the flow of life and it's stuck in your closet, then maybe we could refer to that being a constipated closet.
Yeah.
puts a whole new spin on it.
That's right. But it's really going through every drawer, every cabinet, every closet in your home and seeing what do you currently need and use. And if you used it 20 years ago but you still have it, why are you hanging on to it? And so I love to help people exercise that heart muscle for generosity and say, okay, if you take that thing you're not using, you put on the shelf of a thrift store with a mission that aligns with your heart, then you promote that mission when that item sells. So I have men who are now eager to let go of things in their garage because there's a thrift store near me that helps search and rescue dogs, and that really generates them to let go of some things because they're going to help some dogs. Or if you want to help the homeless people, or I know one now, they'll come and pick up things at the home for free, and it's sold and helps people with HIV. And so it just is so motivating to let go, and there's a mission behind the thrift store.
Well, and I used to think that, there's some value still in this item. If I throw it away, I'm being wasteful. And I have let that go and kind of gotten a little better about sending things on to the secondhand store. But the fact that just because I can't use it, I'm not using it, doesn't mean that somebody else would think it was a gem because that's
right.
What they needed. Yeah. So, okay, we're going to take a break here and talk to Lisa when we come back about the driving force for writing her book. Her book being Calming Your Chaos. Stay tuned. Thank you for coming back to Fresh Courage on the Transformation Talk Radio Network, and I am your host, Sharon Rolph. Our guest today is Elisa Hawkinson, and she helps people get organized and be ready to move in 30 days if she had to. So I don't think we often realize what a difference being organized makes in our world. Lisa, why is that important?
Well, it's the calming effect where you walk in the home with groceries, 3 or 4 bags, and you can actually set them on the countertop. There are some people that it's not possible. Or you'd like to have someone over for dinner tonight or tomorrow night, and it's like that's just too much hassle because, or there's no place to sit because you have everything covered with furniture. So another question I asked besides could you list in 30 days is, if tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock all your clothes are clean, would they fit in your closet and your dresser? And I have people do a whiplash on that. Other people go, oh, yeah. And for some reason, one time I said, well, how many dressers do you have? This lady said 3. And I went, 3? And her friends were staying close by and they were hitting her. But, I mean, at what point do you have too much clothing, or can you come to reality and say, well, I'm not going to be that size again. Let's face reality. And so it just makes life, you can find what you need and find what you use. And so I've been in homes where I have to confess I have an old toothbrush under my bathroom sink. I like to get around the faucet, right, when I do clean. And so there was a lady that had 36 old toothbrushes under her bathroom sink. So I tell groups about that. They go, oh, wow. And then I consider that cabinet to the right, let's say, or the left of the kitchen sink near the dishwasher, prime real estate. So how many cups or mugs would you put in it? Well, I would have enough for my family, obviously. And so we talked about that one time. I was speaking to a group, and the director of women's ministries came up, and she goes, I have 56 mugs in that cabinet. I said, well, how many times do 56 people show up? I mean, it's down to what is normal, what's real. I said, how about putting a tub in the garage with, most of those mugs, and when those people show up, you can pull them out. And so it gets down to need use, because life keeps changing. New normal keeps adjusting. Kids move away from home. You might have someone live with you for a while, or there's a health issue and you have to move to less square footage. So if you have a whole room full of photographs, that's going to take a while to collect and box up. And so just keeping on top of stuff, or books. I mean, are 1,000 books too many to have in your home? Or how many cookbooks is normal? You just get down to what you need and use. So recently I edited all my cookbooks down, and that was a real joy to take it to a thrift store with a mission that really aligns with my heart.
Yeah, yeah. So you feel warm about being able to pass them on down the road. So,
And you bless a lot of people with your stuff that you don't use. Clothing, bedding. I mean, sometimes I have to ask people, how many people live here? There are so many sets of sheets and towels. And there's 3 people in the home. It's like, really?
I've passed your name along to a couple people recently, and my cousin is moving to Puyallup, and her mom was quite the hoarder, and then her and her brother kind of, were living in that same kind of mindset. And it's, for her mom, I remember if it was on sale, why buy one? Let's buy 6 or 8 of them.
I know.
Make them in. So I think, well, and the question I'm starting to ask myself is, do I need and want to take it into my future? Is it going to be something I use in my future? And that eliminates a lot of things, right?
It really does. And it's interesting. I did this myself, and it really set a new pattern. I put a moratorium for over a month on only buy what I need or use. And so I avoided those little sales or those specialty things would pop up. And so now I'm just not in the habit of adding new stuff because we don't have a trailer hitch on our coffin, and we don't take things with us. So I keep thinking, who's going to be left behind to take care of stuff? Who can I bless with my stuff now? And it really sets a whole new framework around stuff and material things.
Well,
they're not bad things for themselves.
It dawned on me just in the last month why coffee shops are so popular, because you don't have to clean house.
That's right. And I noticed I hold a lot of dinner parties, and their younger millennials are afraid of dinner parties because they're afraid their dish is going to cause someone to have an allergic reaction or a death. That just so shocked me. And they don't know what to prepare. They're not used to making food. I used to, in the early days of marriage, we would have potlucks. We'd take our leftovers to a friend's house. We'd swap leftovers. I mean, that just was normal, but now that would just be ludicrous.
Mm-hmm.
And so people do eat out a lot more and don't prepare food. So I talked about the organizing skills of life, like a foundation for a home, right? We put a good solid foundation in. So that includes having, in a personal life, a plan for going to bed on time so we don't play Nintendo or video games until 3 in the morning. We can actually get up on time and be on time for work. I mean, that's a normal thing. We have a meal plan for the week, or at least a couple days in advance. We know how to grocery shop and plan ahead. That's just part of life, because life just changes, like a road trip from Seattle to Washington, D.C. There's mountain ranges with switchbacks and turns and detours, and that's like life. Life just keeps changing. And I know way too many people, 50 plus, who have a sudden health change that changes the way they live and eat and how much stuff they can have in their home. And I've helped people move into senior living, and they insist on taking their crock pot, and I go, no need. How often are you going to need that or use it in a retirement home?
Mm.
So it's just getting into new normal. Think about new normal. You just can't live in a home for 40 or 50 years forever, accumulating things, and then think someday it's going to be easy to let go. It's not easy.
Yeah, sentimentality is sometimes maybe overrated, or we're attached to it for maybe the wrong reason. Do you find that too?
Oh, definitely. So I think having pictures of those special things so you can at least look back on those memories is nice. But I remember in my new thinking going, wait, why do I have those charger plates? I haven't used them for 20 years. So that day I came home, they went to my thrift store. When my first husband passed away, I had to downsize rapidly. And just prior to that, we were planning on a 2-year sailing trip to South America. So I started downsizing to prepare for that. And I had mugs that I had gotten 20 or 30 years prior for a wedding gift. And I put things like that at the front door so the young people coming over who were of the moving out of their home age could just take things free. It was like a free thrift store. They loved it. And I got to bless a lot of people with things I didn't need or use any longer, or that wouldn't fit on a boat. And then when my husband passed away, I had to go deeper and give away more stuff.
Yeah.
Extra beds and things. I mean, I was going to be living in a smaller place. So new normal keeps changing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We have to embrace it and be ready for it because it just hits.
So you published your book, when was it?
I think it was 2014 or 15.
Okay, so that was Calming the Chaos. And what do people learn when they buy your book?
I hammer them with need use on chapter 5. I talk with them about how to move. I've helped on the phone a woman in Alabama prepare for a move out of state. So I do work on the phone with people. They don't have to live next door. So I do side-by-side work or on the phone for accountability and encouragement and strategizing. So it's just learning how to do life, how to think about life new. And so I'll offer to anybody 2 free chapters of my book if they'll email me. And it's really all they need for my book.
As getting started. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's called Call Me Your Chaos. If they just want to text me or email me, I'd be glad to send them 2 free chapters.
Okay. All right. So the simple process about reigning in that chaos, you kind of touched on a couple of them, but how did you arrive at these simple steps, and what are they? Or a couple of them anyway.
Well, you have to start with a goal. So let's start with the kitchen. It's a great example. What's your goal for the kitchen? Well, I started seeing in the 90s, early 90s, cleared off countertops in magazines. And I thought, how do people do that? And so it just got me thinking, right? And so I had Lazy Susan in my kitchen, so I took everything off of the Lazy Susan. I put things on there I used every day, like the block of knives, the little blender, the lunch sacks, the, things I would need every day. And that just made it more simple. And I cleared off my countertops, and I could live with that. I went through every drawer to see what I had, what I could let go of. And so I do that with couples and families, and just edit down everything in the kitchen. So that goal, and then to sort with the idea of keep and use. So are things going to be passed on to family, friends, or a thrift store, or sold? If you want to take the effort to sell, do that. But let go, let go, let go. And then when you get it down to what you need and use, 2 key things are visibility, be able to see what you have, accessibility, be able to reach and grasp what you want. I had a lady in her 90s that was given a box of chocolate. She didn't have that generosity muscle, and she put her chocolate on the top shelf of a cabinet. And so she'd climb up there in her nightgown and get her chocolate, and she didn't share. So one time, sure enough, she fell, broke her hip and an arm. And so visibility, accessibility, age appropriate.
I love that.
And so, you buy Christmas things sometimes 6 months early, so have it in a place designated for gifts so that you know where you keep them, and they're not in that secret place you find 6 months after Christmas. And you have, again, need use that wrapping paper, have all that together. All the wrapping paper goes together. In your cabinet, in the kitchen, all the snacks go together. You don't have snacks in a treasure hunt. They're in 7 different places. Or if you want to make your Christmas smoothie, you can actually pull out your blender and not have to hunt for where all the pieces are in the kitchen. I had one with the blender in 4 different places spread out. So it's just to put the like things together. So when you put like things together in a closet, I've done this, all your black pants go together. This one lady had 26 pair of black pants with elastic waist. I know. Okay, do you think you need to edit down a little bit? So then back in the kitchen, you put all your teas together. So I opened up the cabinet door, and there's all these teas. Okay, good job, a lot of tea. She goes, yeah, but look down below. The bottom cabinet was full of tea. And so it's like, how much tea do you have to drink every day to drink this down? Or could you go share with a women's group, give them boxes and boxes of teas? So it's just really having a new mindset, need use. And then so after men have seen me work in a house, so they're, okay, you can come to my garage now, but don't scratch the antique car. Okay. So I go, well, then I have to say, how many sets of Allen wrenches do you need? I mean, I've seen too many sets of Allen wrenches. It's just crazy. And paint, that's amazing paint. One of the easiest things to get rid of if you start thinking ahead of time. So with latex paint, get it hardened up over a period of time, or add the hardener from Home Depot or cat litter. Get it hard, you can put it in your trash. But it gets down to need use. So I worked with a couple in their 80s recently. The paint was a solid chunk in a can because it was so old.
Mm-hmm.
And so you think, what do I need and use for the paints? Get it down. So one gentleman mixed all his white, off-white paints together in a 5-gallon jug. He used that for a project, and that eliminated all those umpteen cans of paint. Mm-hmm. Never to be done again because it was a unique combination of paints, but like these together. So in that garage that I was so terrified he'd make me put back together because it was so tight, filled. Oh my gosh, we put all the electrical things together. So his goal was to have what he needed for the next 3 jobs. They were small jobs. So his wife and I laid blue tarp on the driveway and put all the electrical stuff out and said, okay, what do you need in this pile for the next 3 projects? And edited that down. And then we did the same with the plumbing thing, and the same with all the pieces of metal he had in the house. They recycled all the metal and got money for it. So it was amazing when you look at, like, what do I need and use, and what do I group together? How do I arrange it so I can retrieve it?
Well, and it has something to do, too, with how our brain works, that when we make it simpler for our brain, we don't have to remember all these details and where they're at.
That's right.
Yeah. So let's talk about, you have a test. What's this test about?
Well, it's just that simple test of 30 days. That's my quick as a dresser. That's just the simplest and easiest. So when I gather with women, we talk about, okay, this is what you're doing in life right now. How much of the important paperwork do you have ready in case you need it? You have written down all your prescriptions or for your family, your spouse, because that happens and you need that quickly to have access to it. So I'm in a new place in life where my husband has dementia. So that's kicked in a whole bunch of new things. It's really sad. So I didn't know about Pulse. Have you ever heard of Pulse, P-O-L-S-T? That was new to me. So now we have Pulse on the edge of near the refrigerator. Mm-hmm. So if emergency people come in, they know, do we want resuscitation and various things. So it's like, what do we need to do? It's all the paperwork in order for someone to step in if tonight's my last breath, because that happens. And so I think that's part of being responsible and organized. It takes time to do it. It's just putting on your schedule like a doctor's appointment. I will take 2 hours every Saturday and work on getting all my paperwork in order, or whatever it takes. So it's you being in charge and having a system to your life and your time.
So, Lisa, what if people feel overwhelmed with their house? Where do they start? You mentioned the kitchen.
I love the kitchen because the principles I talk about in my book and what I've talked about today really apply to the kitchen, and that just goes for every room in the house. So if you take those same principles to the bathroom, starting a small bathroom, every drawer has to be opened up. What makeup do I wear every day? Do I need 6 particular items? Are they there? Are they among 45 items that can be set aside in a baggie if you need to get to for a special occasion? Are all the products that you use under the sink, are they things you still use? What can you let go of?
So,
it's what's easiest. So I don't have to think about this extra salt and pepper shaker. I can let that go. There's no emotion. So let that go. But, Aunt Eva gave me that one. I have to keep that. Do you really? Or could you take a picture of it? I mean, how much space do you have?
The rules we have, yeah.
I know it. And I told Aunt Eva, what if I get rid of that salt and pepper shaker? No. She had joy giving it to you. You had joy receiving it. You used it for a period of time. Now let it go. Let someone else use it and bless them with it.
Okay, so we're going to take a break here again. And we're going to see a little bit more about the future of how to get organized with Lisa Hawkinson. Thanks for listening today. Come back and see us. All right. Thank you for coming back to Fresh Courage today on Transformation Talk Radio. And I'm your host, Sharon Rolph, and my guest is Lisa Hawkinson. And we've been talking about how to get organized. And she's given us some great stories of people she's worked with before. So what's the current status of your calming chaos and how to get organized, Lisa?
Well, I'm probably going to be pursuing putting my book on audio, so it'll be easier for people to listen to. Mm-hmm. That's the next stage. In addition to working with a lot of senior living places and realtors to help people downsize. Good.
That'll keep you busy, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Good. I referred you to a man that he had been in construction and he wanted to reorganize his garage, I guess, and in what things to get rid of. So, and then my cousin that's moving, I referred her to you. So,
thank you.
Yeah. What's motivating you now?
I think this message is so important, and I'm personally, as I said, in my new normal, and I'm realizing again more and more how important it is to continue to edit things down and keep being honest with myself about what I need.
How does this play into our health even? Do you see a connection?
There's research that shows that the stress of too much stuff really plays on our brain. And we just get rattled and we're not comfortable and add stress to our life. So really decluttering is a healthy thing to do. As cheap medicine, you pay for it with your effort. But I mean, just let go of a lot of things.
Well, and we can see some shows on TV about hoarders, and they're not happy people.
No, they're really not. And I worked with one recently. It was just devastating. She had an eviction notice, but it was shocking still how little she could let go of. And I really couldn't touch much. She basically wanted me to stand there and hold a garbage bag as she would throw a few things out rather than tackle it and get it done. So my new rule is hoarders need to be on medication and have a counselor that they will refer me to so we can talk to really make progress.
Does the depression era sometimes filter into this problem?
Well, it does, and putting so much value on things that you couldn't have in the depression, it just kind of filters down. And I think when our moms changed our diapers, I was born in the 40s, it was like, as she would pin me, and you'll keep this, and you'll keep this, and you're going to keep more. And, you're going to keep more. And people just think we're supposed to take the things that our parents and grandparents had. That's how it's been for so long. And now young people just want things out of crate and barrel.
Yeah.
Pottery barn.
Well,
they don't want this stuff.
Well, and we bought things to last. Is it thick? Is it sturdy? Is it, how many years will it last? And that's not the case anymore.
I know.
Yeah. So
my son,
go ahead.
Let me tell you a quick story. My son is 37, and he understands about stuff. And he was sitting in the living room one day, and he commented to his wife, "Look, sweetie pie, there are 5 clocks right now that I can see just sitting here. None of them are working." He went up and got the grandfather clock I had given him that my husband and I had bought in the 80s. He took it out back, chopped it apart, and burned it. I was horrified. But he made the point to his wife, needs used, because she put a lot of value, she still does a lot of value on things because that's what was modeled to her, right? And so people are breaking that habit now, just going, I just don't need this so much stuff. And they're moving more and more often, and so much more stuff has to be dragged along with them.
Well, and I think somehow we must put some value into them as much as more than maybe for ourselves.
That could be. And people put a lot of value in things because they like it. So I had a lady who was moving in with her daughter, and the husband said, your mother-in-law cannot bring all her glassware. she had special colored glassware for every season of the year. And she stored it beautifully on the top shelves of closets, but she'd never have that much space. But to her, it was of great value, and she probably got things at Michael's or Marshall's and as big discounts. But to her, it was of great value. Or if someone you loved gave you a table, that's of great value, or a lamp. And so you treat it preciously with a great treasure your whole life and tell your kids, this came from so-and-so, and someday it'll be yours. And they grow up and they want it.
Well, I read a story just last week of a lady that had to leave her job because she got MS or Parkinson's or something. And so she was in this little old walker. And she put in or started telling a couple friends that she thought she was going to try finding a roommate instead of moving to a assisted living. And she figured life would be better. Well, the roommate she got just within a day or two's time, because word of mouth traveled. And she said this lady started moving in her favorite table. And this lady said, would I rather have a roommate or with her table or not? And it really helped her assess what was really important here. Having a roommate was really important, and she could give up a couple inconveniences, kind of that might rub her the wrong way, but it was better than going into assisted living. So there are choices.
Right. Lots of choices.
Go ahead.
Well, we just continue to have new choices we have to make. Would I rather go for a walk or do lay around more? We have to make healthy choices.
Yeah, that's part of that mental, social, and physical planning that we do in retirement. So, all right, Lisa, let's tell people how they can get a hold of you and find your book and that kind of thing.
Well, they can go to my website, my name, Elisa Hawkinson, or they can go to howtogetorganized.com and order the book. I'd be glad to send it to them.
Okay, and on her website, you'll find her email address is Lisa, but it starts with an E, Lisa, at getorganized.com. And Calming Your Chaos is available at Amazon?
It is, but it's easy to order online, and I can ship it to them.
Okay, all right. And you're on Facebook. What's your Facebook page?
My name or Calming Your Chaos.
Calming Your Chaos. Lisa, do you have any upcoming events?
I do. I'll be speaking. I'm in the Seattle area, and I'll be speaking at a couple events, senior living places, Aegis Living, and Regency Newcastle.
Oh, okay. Good. And let's see. You have a website, elisahawkinson.com. And she mentioned, tell us again how you can get that freebie.
On my website, two free things. One is my 2 free chapters of my book, or on my website, I have 6 sheets of paper to help you identify where you want to stage your stuff. So stage to family, a stage to sell, a stage to donate, and they're pretty, and I laminated my set, and people download them all the time. They're free.
Okay.
So that's what helping you. They know what pile you're talking about. Just go put in the donate pile. You don't have to stop what you're doing and go direct them.
Yeah. So, okay, I'm starting to ask my audience to rate and review our show. But before I do that, let me remind you that my website is effortlessvitality.org. And when I mentioned being physical and social and mental health, we don't often reflect on how is our health mentally and socially. When you're retired, you're responsible for your calendar. Maybe you're an empty nester or a recently widowed or a caregiver that doesn't have work anymore, and being able to have clarity for the new direction is what I love to help people with. So these little art blocks that I like to hold up, they're available on quiltedpetunia.com. Quilted Petunia is my store on Etsy, excuse me. And I have Effortless Vitality Facebook page. So just to say again that the rating review will help us build our audience. So rating is like the 5-star rating, but then adding comments is also a good thing because that will help Lisa and myself as well. So
Yes.
effortlessvitality.org. And our guest next week is somebody who had amazing recovery from 2 very unique cancers. And he's written a book on living on bonus time. So you might like to hear what he has to say about dealing with huge challenge like that, because life does go on and it is pretty good. So, Lisa, do you have any wrapping up comments that you'd like to summarize today's show with?
I would say the biggest thing is decide. Decide if you're going to do something and then start it. Do one little thing today. Set a timer for 15 or 20 minutes and do something each day. And just work out. And it'll feel good. You'll enjoy it. And then text me that you did what you did. I'd love to have feedback. I'd love to encourage you.
And that text would be at what number?
206-915-9911.
Thank you. I remember years ago there was a Fly Lady website. Is that? And she said the same thing. Start with 10 or 15 minutes, just one little corner, and each day you move it out and let it be bigger and bigger. So that overwhelming feeling doesn't stop you.
Right. There can be just a bulldozer in your way.
Yeah. So that phone number again for texting was 206
915 9911.
9911. Okay, good. Well, thank you for listening today. I hope Lisa has inspired you, because I love inspiring and encouraging people. And we often don't realize how everyday mundane stuff gets overwhelmingly at some point, and we don't stop and say, look what happened. And it's time to do something different. So when you're thinking about transforming yourself, making little changes is where it begins. And that's kind of one of the reasons I started doing my kitchen a little bit. And because change feels good when you do that. So thanks for listening today, and fresh courage on Transformation Talk Radio. See you next week.
Thank you, Sharon.